Will the Senate please come to order? We will observe a moment of silence in lieu of a devotional this morning. Thank you. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any announcements? Seeing none. We have Senate Bill S-157 being on the calendar for notice and affecting the revenues of the state under Rule 31 is referred to the Committee on Finance. We have Senate Bill S-173 being on the calendar for notice and affecting an appropriation under Rule 31 is referred to the Committee on Appropriations. We have a joint resolution to take up at this time, JRS 42, joint resolution condemning the Russian Federation's military and political actions in Ukraine, and especially their impact on Ukrainian children, offered by Senator Vahovsky. Listen to the reading of the resolution.
JRS 42, joint resolution condemning the Russian Federation's military and political actions in Ukraine, and especially their impact on Ukrainian children.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and it will be referred to the Committee on Economic Development. Orders of the day. Senator from Chittenden Central.
Thank you, Mr. President. As our conference committee has come back with a very relatively simple committee report, I would move that the Senate suspend its rules in order to take up H790, an act relating to fiscal year 2026 budget adjustments for immediate action.
Senator from Chittenden Central has moved that the rules be suspended and that H790, appearing on the calendar for notice, be taken up for immediate consideration. Are you ready for that question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we will take up H790. H790, an act relating to fiscal year 2026 budget adjustments. The committee of conference has submitted the report. It's found in the calendar today, and the question is, shall the Senate accept and adopt the report of the Committee on Conference? I recognize the senator from Washington, Senator Perchlik.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, this is a pretty quick conference committee, and we did a little differently than we have done in the past due to the suggestion of the Secretary of the Senate. There are 6 instances of amendment. Instead of doing a strike all and giving you the full budget adjustment again and finding these small changes, there you'll find just 6 instances of amendment. So the House basically acceded to the Senate position, which the Agency of Administration in their letter said there was they agreed with the wisdom of the Senate. So the House also agreed, except for 6 instances, and 3 of those are dealing with one change to how much money we give for Meals on Wheels. So there's really only 4 changes. So this starts on page 196 of today's calendar, if you want to follow ahead, but it's pretty quick. The first instance of amendment, section 37, which deals with section D330 of the budget. This is just a $25,000 difference for the Meals on Wheels. If you remember, the House had proposed $30,000 extra dollars for Meals on Wheels and $400,000 for Vermonters feeding Vermonters. We wanted to give some more money to Meals on Wheels, so we had $80,000 for Meals on Wheels and $360,000 for Vermonters feeding Vermonters. We ended up kind of in the middle with $55,000 for Meals on Wheels and $385,000 for Vermonters Feeding Vermonters. And that's additional money. We had $500,000 for Vermonters Feeding Vermonters in the 26 budget. So it's all the way up to $885,000 total. So the first instance amendment, just those numbers you see changed are just to add that, the difference of that 25,000. The second instance of amendment also is just the grand totals for the whole agency. So it's just also doing the $25,000 difference, and that's on section 44. The third instance of amendment is dealing with the change in the appropriations to the Agency of Agriculture for the Vermonters Feeding Vermonters program. That's that difference of the, whatever it is, the $50,000 difference. So that's making that appropriation to the food bank, not to Agency of Ag, like I just said. This is through the ag, but it'll go to the food bank for that program. The fourth instance of amendment is the housing program, or what we were calling the Section 8 changes. And this is mainly cleanup of that language, which I think on the floor, people found it a little confusing. And one of the main differences of the cleanup was to make sure that basically the work from the housing authorities to apply for the money, whether the money goes out will happen before we adjourn for the session. So if we want to make any changes, the legislature will still be here to do that instead of leaving it for the e-board after we're out. It still makes the money available from that $50 million pot that we had set aside for the FY26 budget. So that's still there. But it also puts more kind of responsibility on the housing authorities to apply for one of the funding that they might get from that $50 million. They have to provide written approval from HUD that shows that it's allowed. So there was some concern that what we might be asking them to do would be allowed under HUD regulations, and we didn't want to risk a clawback from HUD later on. So we want them to get this written approval. And we also clarify that it's to the Department of Children and Families. And we changed some of the dates. And then we also added a report to the Joint Fiscal Committee in September, and then a report back to the Committees on Appropriations next year in 27 January. So that's the fourth instance of amendment. The fifth instance of amendment is the payment reform for the Development Disability Services, or people often call it the DAs. The language that the House had was kind of just placeholder to deal with this. The Senate position is largely here. We just really changed, again, some dates. This is on page 198 in section 83. The B section, there's a date in there, April 1st, we have here, was March 15th. There was a June date in the next section C, we changed that to April 15th. Again, to kind of move things up while we're still here and can see how that's happening. On the next page on 199, there was a date that was April 15th. We changed that to May 1st. In the last section E, we also had to make a change to notwithstand another part of statute. So that's just kind of a technical correction. The sixth instance of amendment also deals with Meals on Wheels. The Meals on Wheels program that we're funding specifically is to Dale, because this is Meals on Wheels specifically for those that are under 60 years of age and but are individuals with disabilities. So we specifically say in that section 86 where that $55,000 difference is going for Meals on Wheels. So those are the six instances of amendment from the Committee on Committees report.
The question is, shall the Senate accept and adopt the report of the Committee of Conference? Are you ready for the question? Senator from Addison.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to extend my gratitude to the Chair of Appropriations for fixing the section about the designated agencies and making the dates be in order. It is very helpful to see it, and also just scratches the itch for me to make sure our our language is logical in our statute. So thank you, Mr. President.
Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the Senate has accepted and adopted the report of the Committee of Conference on H 790. Senator from Chittenden Central.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that the Senate suspend its rules in order to message H 790 to the House forthwith.
The senator from Chittenden Central has moved that the rules be suspended and that H 790 be messaged to the House forthwith. Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we will message our actions on H 790 to the House forthwith. Yes, we are passing over to 10, which brings us to third reading of H 545, an act relating to issuing immunization recommendations. Listen to the third. Are there any amendments prior to third reading? Seeing none, listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 545, an act relating to issuing immunization recommendations.
Question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we have passed S 210. We now have we have passed H 545. We now have on the calendar for action H 516, an act relating to approval of amendments of the Charter of the Town of Essex. Senator from Orleans. Oh, wait, are we supposed to? No, I'm just lost here. Which reports it is considered the bill and recommends that it ought to pass in concurrence. Now, Senator from, second reading.
Point of order. Can I just ask, I did follow what just happened and I have some confusion about what bill we just passed.
Yes.
So just so I understand, we did pass H 545.
Yes.
And we also passed S 210.
No, we passed over S
We passed
210.
over it. Okay, thank you.
And we're now
I
on H
appreciate that
516.
clarification.
And now we have the report of the second reading, and then we will have the report. It's Monday. It feels like Monday to me.
H 516, an act relating to approval of amendments to the Charter of the Town of Essex.
Senator from Orleans.
Thank you, Mr. President. H 516 is an act relating to approval of amendments to the Charter of the Town of Essex. So as everyone knows, most municipalities have charters and they need to be updated and changed once in a while. And that's what this is pertaining to. So the first section is the General Assembly approves the amendments to the Charter of the Town of Essex as set forth in this act. Voters approve the proposals of amendment on March 4th, 2025. You're also going to see a lot of cleanup language here in this. As an example, under 101, corporate existence retained, at the line 18, at the bottom, it strikes states of the state of and includes Vermont statutes annotated. You're going to see that throughout this bill. Powers of the town, they now include town ordinances, bylaws, and regulations. Again, below there, they got rid of the statutes of the state, but statutes annotated. And then another one under 204 organization, you're also going to see where they changed board to select board. More cleanup information. Going on, in the event of a death, resignation, change of residence outside the town, or incapacity of the select board member, the remaining members of the select board may appoint a person eligible to fill that position until the next annual or special meeting. And then the next section, not next section, but down on line 14, this is where there was some discussion. Its incapacity shall include the failure by any member of the select board to attend at least 50% of the meetings of the select board in any calendar year. So there's some questions by the committee to testifiers about whether or not 50% is the right number. And they said that they thought so because they took it very seriously, that if somebody got elected, that you don't just kick them to the wayside, so to speak, that they were elected, they should stand there. But if they're not going to pertain or attend 50% of the meetings, that they thought that they may be good to go. The town moderator shall perform duties as prescribed by law, shall preside at all town meetings, but in the moderator's absence, the town clerk shall call the meeting to order, and the first order of business shall be the election of a moderator pro tempore to preside over the duration of the meeting. The moderator shall conduct every meeting according to this charter, the laws of the state of Vermont. That happens in a lot of charters already currently. The moderator shall preserve order in the conduct of the business of the meeting, and in all things shall preserve the principles of fairness and openness to town government. In the event of the death, resignation, or change of residence to a location outside the town, the select board may appoint a person eligible to fill that position until the next annual or special town meeting. The select board is unable to agree upon that interim replacement until the next annual special meeting. A special election shall be held forthwith to fill that position. That also happens in a lot of charters currently. Again, cleanup from board to select board, a couple places there. Moving on. The minutes of each meeting shall be approved by the select board as soon as is reasonably possible. The official copy authenticated by the signature of the clerk of the select board. More cleanup language. In 208, appointments by select board, they added appointment to the cemetery commission. Moving on. Another one, section 402, officials appointed by the manager. Currently, the town manager appoints several folks in this. But what we did was we ended up striking some of them because they're no longer relevant or pertinent. Grand juror, cemetery commissioners, fire wardens, fence viewers, inspectors of lumber and shingles, but they did add fire chief. So that's one thing that they decided to do there. And an interesting twist here was if after 45 days, those appointments haven't been made, the town manager appoints. We don't think that's going to be a big deal. We think that they will be appointed, but if not, then the town manager appoints after 45 days. Under 602, the annual town report. The town select board shall employ by contract a public accountant to examine the financial statements of the funds of the town. I think that's good. The annual auditor's report shall be made available by the voters of the town to the voters of the town, not later than 30 days prior to the annual meeting. Notification of the availability of the annual auditor's report shall be distributed by mail to all Essex households at least 30 days prior to the meeting. That doesn't mean that the whole audit report is actually mailed to the town. It'd be cost prohibitive. That means that basically you post it on the website and a notice will also be mailed. Time of holding under 604. That's to eliminate charter specific town meeting provisions and instead cross-reference Vermont statutes governing the use of Australian ballot in the local elections. More cleanup language. Oh, and under 101, the creation of department. This department of they struck real estate appraisal and now it's called the Department of Assessment. Next one, the purpose of the Department of Assessment is to provide for appointment of a qualified real estate appraiser rather than the election of listers. The town should be governed by, and each taxpayer shall have rights granted by the applicable Vermont state statutes annotated. This is also happening throughout other communities and towns as well. Appraisal of property, the Department of Assessment shall appraise all real property for the purpose of establishing a grand list. And then they added the department shall review or cause to be reviewed the appraisals of all real property in the town that is subject to taxation in accordance with the standards for appraising established by by state law. The Department of Assessment goes on under 1005. The Department of Assessment shall have the same power, discharge the same duties, and proceed in the discharge of duties in the same manner and be subject to the same liabilities as listers pursuant to the Vermont statutes annotated in this charter. And then finally, repeals in section 3, repeals a section related to the town meeting. This section is no longer necessary because the charter has been updated to reference Vermont statutes governing local elections held by Australian ballot. So as you can see, fairly basic bill. It passed the House Government Operations Committee 1100. It was a voice vote on the House floor, and it passed out of our Senate Government Operations 500. And we ask the Senate to concur. Thank you, Mr. President.
The question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you ordered third reading of H 516. That completes the orders of the day. Senator from Chittenden Central.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pending announcements, I move that the Senate stand in adjournment until 1 p.m. Wednesday, February 25th, 2026.
Are there any announcements? Senator from Chittenden Central.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise on a point of personal privilege. It has been 4 years since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. 4 years of Ukrainian resistance, resilience, and trauma. 4 years of air raid sirens, sleepless nights, cold winters without heat or electricity because of constant attacks on civilian infrastructure. 4 years of children going to school in bomb shelters. 4 years of waking up exhausted and yet continuing on even though the sky is actually falling. I spent just 12 days in Ukraine in August experiencing daily life, and I was struck by both the inhumanity of what was happening and the strong resilience and resolve of the people who have been living with these conditions for 4 years. 500,000 to 600,000 combat casualties, with 100,000 to 140,000 combat deaths. Streets filled with injured soldiers. 15,000 to 400,000 civilians deaths, with the potential for much higher numbers, because we do not know how many died in the massacres at Bucha or Mariupol. We don't know how many have died in occupied Crimea, Kherson, Donetsk, or Donbass. And we don't know how many of the more than 20,000 children who have been kidnapped and sent to camps have died. 4 years of terror and heartache. As Ukraine enters year 5 of fighting for its freedom, its independence, and sovereignty, I ask that we remember that we all must fight for each other. We all must stand in solidarity with the most vulnerable and oppressed across our globe. In the fight for freedom from imperialism and authoritarianism, we are all in this together. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, Senator. And by way of announcement from the chair, I was going to recognize the 4-year anniversary as well, because the U.S., Great Britain, and Russia all signed a treaty and none of us have lived up to that treaty. Russia violated it by invading a sovereign nation, and the U.S. and Great Britain violated it by not coming to their defense when they gave up nuclear weapons, something we should all be doing around the world, and they had an agreement that has not been lived up to. Are there any further announcements? Senator from Windham.
Senate Judiciary will meet at 10 a.m.
Senator from Windsor.
Thank you. May I first ask Mr. President to have the remarks of the senator from Chittenden Central journalized? Is that
The senator from Chittenden Central.
If I might withdraw my motion, Mr. President.
The motion will be considered withdrawn. The senator from Windsor has moved that the senator from Chittenden Central's remarks be journalized. Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've moved to journalize the remarks of the senator from Chittenden Central. Senator from Windsor.
Thank you. Senate Economic Development and Housing and General Affairs will be addressing this resolution at 11:30 if anybody is interested in joining us at that time. Until then, we'll be dealing with housing, and we will gather at 10 after 10 to give everyone a little bit of a break. Thank you.
Are there further announcements? Senator from Chittenden.
Senate Health and Welfare will meet 10 minutes after the fall of the gavel.
Senator from Essex.
Senate Agriculture will meet 10 minutes after the fall of the gavel. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Lamoille.
Transportation will meet in 10 minutes.
Senator from Rutland.
Government operations will meet at 1:15.
Senator from Wyndham.
Senate institutions will meet at 1.
Senator from Bennington.
Mr. President, the Senate Education Committee will meet at 1:15.
Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Finance will meet at 1:30.
Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Natural Resources will meet at 10.
Are there any further announcements? Senator from Chittenden Central.
Pending any further announcements, I would move that the Senate stand in adjournment until 1 p.m., Wednesday, February 25th, 2026.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, the senator from Chittenden Central has moved that the Senate stand in adjournment until 1 p.m. on Wednesday, February 25th of 2026. Are you ready for the question? If so, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we'll stand in adjournment until 1 p.m. Wednesday, February 25th, 2026.